So we're going to go over our pillars today. I'm just going to share my screen here with documents you guys can sort of read along instead of just listening to me. So the first one we talk about, and you guys will hear me say this often, whenever any of you get stuck in the office, when you come to me, I say, have you called your center of influence, right? So your center of influence is created. Actually, let me just go back one step here. I think it's good to just go over our center of influence list. So when I talk about center of influence, especially the new agents that come in here, I'm going to ask you guys to create this list. I was told to start this list and it was one of the best things I ever did. I worked on it and it grew and grew and grew. It was this little Excel spreadsheet that I now turned into like a Google sheet because it's easier to access, right? And I still work off of it constantly. And every time I have that lull in business, I turn to my center of influence. But anytime I have a moment to make phone calls that I don't know who to call, I call my center of influence, right? So it's going to be everybody that you can think of. So you're going to start small circle. You're going to start family, friends, friends of friends, coworkers, people you see on a daily basis. Just, you keep on fanning out. But this list, I can share it with you guys. It's just kind of to help you jog your memory a little bit to who you can put on this list, right? Accountants you use, any time we go to the gym, maybe our gym instructors, teachers at your kids' school, parents of the, people you talk to, of your kids' friends, your dentists, your doctors, you want to really grow this list, right? So you need to focus on it. And the thing is that when I say you should pick a couple of these pillars, at the end of the day, I think that this is definitely one of them. You shouldn't nix this one. This one should definitely be the one you're working on 100%. And then you can add the other pillars that you're comfortable with. So we'll start going over them. So what do you do with your past client and center of influence once you have it? How do you start working it? First, you get everybody on your database that's supposed to be there. Okay. And then you're going to print off your database and divide it into 11 equal pieces, right? The reason we divide it into 11 equal pieces is the theory behind our real estate work is that we're going to be working 11 months of the year, right? Probably going to take a week or two off in the summer, a week or two off at some holiday time of the year. And so we're going to divide it into 11 equal pieces because we want to make sure that we're touching everybody in our center of influence, whether they're cold leads, warm leads, hot leads, we want to make sure we're calling them, right? So you're going to divide it into 11 equal pieces and you're going to call one piece each week. Okay. So if you're calling this one piece each week and you happen to not get a hold of somebody a few times, I suggest not leaving a voicemail the first time because they don't have a reason to call you back. Usually they see your number and say, hey, I saw you called, right? If you haven't got a hold of them by the end of the week, right? If you couldn't reach them, leave a voicemail for sure. Okay. You want to try to mail to your database quarterly. Now, I really want to I'm trying to teach myself all the ReMax back office stuff. And I'm almost there to do a session with you guys because it's a great tool we have. We pay monthly for this ReMax back office. You need to get in there and use it because you don't even have to think about this. It's going to be super passive to get a hold of your center of influence. You can mail to your database quarterly. You can mail to your database monthly. There's a whole campaign in the back office that you just plug. It takes a little time to plug your clients in there, but then you can choose what sort of campaign you want them for. Are they first-time home buyers? Do you want to email them quarterly when the season changes about spring tips for cleaning? Do you want to send them yearly happy anniversary for when they bought their house so they remember that you're the one that sold it to them? It's really good touch point to keep in touch with your clients. And I can't stress how much the passive method works because it's something in the background that's always working for you, right? So I definitely want to get into the ReMax back office with you guys in one of the training sessions. And they say they should be adding to your database monthly, right? 10 names to your database monthly. How do you add 10 names? You're handing out 10 business cards a day. Now I know it's COVID, so not a lot of people are taking business cards up of people. You can ask them to take a picture. That's what I've been doing lately. I'm like, do you want to take a picture of my business card? Right? Because people don't want that material passed between each other. But the point of saying hand out 10 business cards a day is that you should be making that point of contact with somebody 10 times a day because you're going to bump into the gas station attendant when you stop for gas, the Tim Hortons person when you stop for Timmy's. I can 100% guarantee you the Tim Hortons I go to every morning knows me by name. And they know by the time I order my coffee, oh, that Christine's here. And they know I have I'm a real estate agent. And almost every person who mans that window has one of my cards. So I know it's silly, right? But I'm friends with them because that's where I go every morning. Those ladies know me and I know most of their names. It's important to like get to know them as well, right? These are how people are going to remember you. Yes, Sarah, what's up?
How do you propose that? Like, do you, when you're getting your coffee, like, do you just chat them up and just?
It's little by little, and you have to make it natural and not sales pitchy. At least that's the way I feel. I'm not very sales pitchy when it comes to growing my database and letting people know that I'm a real estate agent, right? So one of the ladies' names is Hazel. My middle name is Hazel. So I chatted up with her one morning. Oh my God, I love your name. It's my middle name. It's my Nana's name. That's great. I said, if you ever need anything, here's my card, right? Next time I come through, she's smiling at me. She's not the one serving at me, but she waves behind the lady in front, Myra. Myra's there. I go, good morning, Myra. She's Filipino. My auntie's Filipino. I speak whatever little Filipino I know to her. And she starts to get friendly with me, right? So whatever touch point you want to do, just to be, to offer a smiling face to that person and make yourself memorable. So, just, I don't get friendly with the people that you're seeing every morning. You're going to Starbucks on the regular, make friends with the barista, you know what I mean? And just get chatty, talk about the weather, hand them a card. You want people to remember you at the end of the day, right? And that's how you're adding those 10 names to your database monthly, because inevitably somebody will say to you, my son's looking for a place, or I need to move, or something to that effect, right? So when you're talking to your database, right, you're going to say, hey, you got to work it into the conversation. And again, I'm not very sales pitchy. Like I say, I just sort of, tell people how I'm a real estate agent. Like if I bump into the parents at my kids' school, they'll say, how are you? And I go, oh, it's really good, but it's super busy. About this time of year, I start saying, I don't know what I'm going to do with the kids because real estate's so busy in the summer. And, now I'm going to have to entertain them while they don't have school to occupy them. And just remind them that you're an agent, right? So a lot of people say, oh, we have a friend that's thinking of moving. We'll have them call you. Okay. Because what you're doing is you're calling your center of influence and you're asking for business. Don't forget, no matter how you're catching up with this person from your center of influence, you're going to catch up. Oh, your daughter just got married. Great. No problem. Oh, I haven't seen you in ages. I know COVID sucks. Whatever conversation you have before that phone call ends, you can't forget to ask for business. Okay. If you don't ask for business, nobody's going to give it to you freely at the end of the day. I can just guarantee that to you. Right. So a lot of people say to you, oh, we have a friend that's thinking of moving. We'll have them call you. This is a big no-no. I never say, okay, yeah, sure, have them call me. You're never going to get that call. I always say, no problem. Do you want to give me their number? I'd be happy to reach out to them for you, right? So again, here it says, okay, someone moving and you'll have them call me, correct? Thanks for being willing to do that. I really appreciate it. Can I make a suggestion? Right now, they probably have every intention to call me. However, what usually happens is before they call me, they accidentally get tangled up with another realtor that might not put their best interest first. It's probably better I give them a call. So it's just a nice way of saying, because I know, if somebody says to me, I have this coworker who is looking to sell, I go, okay, you want to give me their number? I'd be happy to give them a call. Never wait for that call, because they're going to go to work and somebody else is going to hear and they're going to say, I have an excellent agent too. And that, they're definitely going to get tangled up in that. You might lose that client. Okay. Is anybody doing this? Is anybody calling their center of influence? Does anybody have some sort of database that they're working off of right now, or something to this effect? Some CRM that you're keeping, or some spreadsheet? Are you finding, what are your ways that you guys are keeping track of your clients? I really want to hear this. How are you guys keeping track of who's your client and what phone calls you need to make and who you need to call back in 3 months?
I set up my CRM this week.
That's excellent. See, I told Sarah, ReMax has the CRM, and I gave her a 2-second tutorial, and she's pretty tech savvy, so she's been using the ReMax CRM, and it's good. You guys have to do it. So it's definitely a topic I'm going to go over soon. Okay. For sale by owner. Okay, this is an excellent place to do, like to plant a pillar if you're good with cold calling. Right. And it's not even a cold call. It's more of a warm call, because these people, you already know that they want to sell their house. You're not randomly calling a street trying to ask, are you selling your house? Are you selling your house? Are you selling your house? You're actively calling someone who wants to sell their house. They have it up for sale. Right. So, there's different resources. I know there's lists you can purchase, but if you want to just do it for free, scour Kijiji. It's required by our board that you put you're an agent, but I'm just going to caution you, a lot of agents aren't doing that. So try to weed through them as an agent and see if there's realtors speak in it. you know, because a lot of them will say, you know, something like, I don't know, they'll use our acronyms that we use, or they use a little realtor speak. You can tell it's them posting on Kijiji. But if you scour them, you will find people who are trying to sell their home by themselves. Facebook Marketplace and, you know, Craigslist and, you know, Bins, there's Bins group and different places where you can find people wanting to list their home either for sale or for lease, right? So get in with the for sale by owners and call them, right? Contact a certain number daily, set a specific time each day to make contacts. Okay, so 9 to 11, for instance. I really try to get my phone calls out of the way first thing in the morning, because if I don't, then I get harried with a whole bunch of stuff. The afternoon comes, I, you know, get caught up with paperwork and somebody coming in for an appointment, and then I got to run out to do a showing. And before you know it, the day's over. So when I come, usually I get my coffee and I spend that first hour or two making my phone calls for the day. I open my CRM, the tasks are all there beautifully. You guys will see it. And I know how to kick off what I need to do for the day. And usually if I don't have like 20 tasks sitting there of a million phone calls to make, I'll start making some new ones and some cold calls, right? Do all lead follow-ups on Monday. People are bright and fresh on a Monday. They've had the weekend to chat to their spouse about it. Definitely if you call them on Fridays, they tend to be busy. People are just finishing their work week, you know. But they have time to touch base with their family, make decisions, basically. So we find we have more success on Monday when we do our lead follow-ups, unless it's more urgent than that. I mean, if you have a hot lead or a warm lead that needs to be followed up more urgently, don't leave it to Monday, just because I'm saying. But these are just sort of loose suggestions that we find are the success times to get a hold of people and to talk to people, right? Door knock Tuesday afternoon between 1 and 3. Those that you had a good conversation with and those that you have not yet reached. So I'm calling and I'm calling and I'm calling and I'm not getting a hold of this person, but I know that they might have they have this Kijiji ad up and I really want to get a hold of them. I'm going to go door knock. It's a little difficult now. Again, you might want to just keep your space. I find if I'm doing any strategic door knocks right now, I step back, I close their door again, and I let them open it if they feel comfortable, right? Whereas before I'd hold the screen door open and wait right there. If you can't get a hold of people, you definitely door knock. If you can get a hold of them and they seem really interested, well, you definitely want to drop off some material now. You've done the research, you've found them, the for sale by owner, you've got them on the phone, you've had a long conversation with them, you've already put all this effort and they're going, yeah, it sounds like a great idea. Well, don't waste any time. Probably within an hour, I've got my CMA together and I'm at their door. Remember, we talked about our CMA and having it ready within 5 minutes. This is why it's so important. I want you guys to go back to that video if you can, or if you want the notes from the CMA, I encourage you guys, just copy what I have. You know what I mean? Just tweak it for yourself, but have it ready to go out the door within 5 minutes, because it's so important to your lifeline as a real estate agent to be able to come prepared in a short time. There are so many agents out there that'll show up just as prepared and knock on that door before you if you don't hurry on over, right? Drop off how to save the commission form at the door earlier in the week. I don't do this. I don't believe in talking commission on the phone. I don't talk commission before the appointment. I only talk commission at time of signing. That's just my style. But, you know, this is seminars that I've been to where I've taken this sort of material together. Everybody has their own style when it comes to negotiating commission. I know an agent who's a good friend of mine. He always writes 7% on his contracts so he can like whittle them down to 5, right? So normally I write 5 on my contract and I try to fight for the 5, and then, you know, I'll do them the favor, cross it off and put 4.5. But one of my agents used to make me laugh because he would put 7%. 7% I used to do it all the time, right? Okay, so most common objections that you have when you're knocking a FSBO, right? We already have a realtor that we're going to list with. Okay, so you already have a realtor that you're going to list with, correct? Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing that with me. I really appreciate it. Can I make a suggestion? I would suggest a second opinion just to make sure you have selected the right realtor. Does that make sense? What's better for you, Tuesday or Thursday? So again, I keep on reiterating these negotiation tactics. Tuesday or Thursday. You don't say, can I come over this week? You can't give them a yes or no question. They'll give you a no answer, right? You have to give them a if this or that, Tuesday or Thursday, 6 or 8. What works for you better? It's good negotiation. Another thing I wanted to mention is if they don't say they have another realtor they're going to list with, a lot of people have the objection, well, just bring me a buyer, right? And I'll give you 3%. There's a couple of objections that you can go with that. I always say, well, first of all, you know, the buyer is going to have someone representing them. You need someone to represent your own interests, right? So, you know, for only 0.5% or 1% more, I could be helping you list the property and represent your interests. But then I also say to them, well, I need to come and make an informed decision about your property. I need to see what your property looks like to talk to my buyers about it, right? So can I come and walk through the property? And then I bring my presentation with me, right? So here, if you bring a buyer, sorry.
Like, the thing that you said, like, oh, I want to walk through the property to kind of make sure, like, to make sure what?
I want to walk through the property so I'm knowledgeable about it, so I can go back and see which my buyers it'll suit, right? Because I'm working with a bunch of buyers now. I don't know which ones to bring through. I've never seen your house. You're trying to sell it on your own, right? Do you mind if I come and walk through so I can be informed about your property and then I can let my buyers know, right? It's your opportunity just to get in front of the person. You're never going to land a listing over the phone and someone's going to sign, right? You want to get in front of that person and have them sign, right? Or have them agree to sign because they've met you face to face, right? All right. The next one is expired listings. And I like for, you know, Clout, they put USA list clients. We're not allowed to call expired. I'm going to tell you there's no agent out there that doesn't, no successful agent, I can say. So first we'll go over this and then we'll kind of go over how you look up expired and terminated, right? So call early on the day of expiry, 7:30 to 9 a.m. I would even call before that. I might call a day or two before if it's a listing that I really want, for sure, because you better believe other agents out there want it because it's in a really good area. They know it's going to sell quick, or, you know, it's a really nice property. It's going to sell for a high amount, right? Lots of agents are going to be fighting for it. I actually was going after an expired once and someone put a note on the door. If you're an agent, please don't knock on my door. 100 others have, right? Because this is how badly people are chasing these expireds, right? So you have to understand that, like, even though they tell us we can't, no calling after expired, you know how we get our clients to do not call. If you're farming a certain area, you should know who's expiring and who's terminating in your area. And you should maybe try and find out why, you know what I mean? Like, call the listing agent first, because sometimes they might say, oh no, I just took it off and I'm going to relist it tomorrow because that price wasn't working, and they're still working with their clients. So be careful, caution yourself. Yes. How can I help you, Paul? Hold on, I'll unmute you.
Yes, my question is that what is the rules that, you know, how many days or any time period that after expiry that the other salespeople cannot knock the seller?
If the rule is that we're not allowed to contact them.
Not at all?
Not allowed, because most of our clients are clicking the do not call, or does not want to be contacted on the listing agreement, right? Most of our clients are checking the does not box, right? Which kind of puts them on a do not call list. It's not an official do not call list, like, you know, the do not call list for the directory for everybody's phone numbers. It's kind of like a real estate do not call list, but it's asking you not to call them, right? As per their contract when they expire or terminate or sell, right? But if you wait till the day after, another agent has definitely called that expired and got that listing. It's a good place to get listings, right? So anybody who teaches you how to find business is going to tell you, call the expireds, right? I'm just cautioning you, you have to be careful on how you do it. So I usually call the listing agent and I find out if he's relisting it, why it's been terminated or expired. Did they get any, offers? Kind of have a chit chat with them. And if he says, no, they terminated on me, or they expired, they're expiring tomorrow, they're not going to relist or something. You'll find a lot of agents who will be honest with you like that, especially if they're relisting it. If he tells you I'm going to relist it tomorrow, I'm probably not going to knock that expired. I'm not that cutthroat where I know that he's going to list it tomorrow. I'm not going to go in and kind of, speak ill of that agent. Then you're going to probably get yourself into trouble. But if he's tried and he's lost and he didn't sell it for some reason, or I feel I can market it better, I'm definitely going to go knock a terminated or expired listing, right? But yeah, technically you're not allowed to. So just be careful. Just be careful about it. Don't be really cutthroat.
1 year or 2 year expired?
1 year or 2 years expired. I would wonder what their motivation is. Of course, like that's enough time for me that I wouldn't even bother about that. For sure, I'd call. But I'm talking about one that's just expiring. Like
Oh,
for
I
instance,
see. Okay. Okay.
today's
Okay.
Thursday. It's expiring Saturday. That means I'm probably going to call them tomorrow
Oh, I see. Okay, I got
to
you.
see how their listing's going, chit chat them. I'm not going to ask them for the listing yet because I'm not allowed to step on their toes, but I'm going to introduce myself and talk to them and be, oh, I have buyers in the area. Oh, you're currently listed. Oh, I didn't realize that. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like something of that effect. We'll go over it a little bit more. But it's a good pocket if you're good at making these calls, right? You should go after expired. It's the health of a lot of agents I know who are successful out there working. They're knocking expireds. And I've done it before. Actually, it was funny because it wasn't an expired. Actually, we were knocking a for sale by owner. And one of my colleagues in another brokerage got it. And then he expired. So I went and took the listing. And then I expired. So he went and took the listing back and sold it. So, we're chasing each other on expireds, like as long as you know you're out there and you're working and you have a good humor about it and you're nice to your other agents, it should be a friendly battlefield. You know what I mean? But like I say, I, as a rule, never bash the other agent, never talk ill, never say what they did wrong. I just say that what I can do, what I feel, how I feel I'm stronger. Right? Yeah, Paul?
Sorry, I have one more question.
That's
Can
okay.
you can you give me 2-3 reasons what can be what the listing can be expired other than the not sold?
Well, most of the time it's expired because it's not sold, but there are different reasons why that may have happened. Maybe they got a deal and it fell through. And now, that time has been taken up. Maybe it was set at the wrong price point. And sometimes it's the seller's fault. It's not an agent error where the seller's really stuck on a price that's too high for the market, or they really want to see a certain number. There's tons of different reasons. It wasn't marketed or pushed very well. Maybe there was no pictures in the listing. We'll do training one day on how to load a good listing to push your listing out there too. But there's sometimes just the way it's been listed. Sometimes I read through listings and I think, oh, I could do this and this, it would sell. It's been sitting 20 days in the market and I totally know why by this description or by this picture, right? And you kind of feel how you could do better with the listing. So there's a ton of different reasons why it wouldn't have sold, for sure.
Even it could happen that see the seller got the offers, but he didn't like the offer, right?
Right.
Okay.
So if they get a couple offers, they don't like it, they refuse it, then they sit a couple weeks and they turn around and they go expired. It's probably a good time to talk to them about a price change and they're probably ready for it. So I always say sometimes with these difficult clients who want to list high that they need time to just learn and go through the process. Some of them, they won't listen to what you say to them at the end of the day, even if you bring all the material, all the analytics, they need to go through the process at the end of the day. So, lucky for you, if you're the next one to take it, they'll probably be more receptive to a price change, but it all depends on the person. Some people just really want to see that number and they don't want to sell. I wouldn't consider them a highly motivated seller if they just want to see a number and they don't need to move for some reason. So again, just go over with them and see, did you get offers? Oh, were they not high enough? That's sort of the questions that I asked them. How many offers did they get? Did you get lots of showings? Maybe they had 30 showings and 5 offers. Is this a listing I want to fight for if they're not going to lower their price? Probably not. But if I get a sense where I can educate them and bring them down a little bit in price and I feel like I can put them more in the market range, for sure, I'll totally try it. Right? Yeah.
So normally the contract, like normally they go in 2 months or something, sometime.
Yeah, minimum 2 months to load on our board, right?
And maximum doesn't matter? Or?
So maximum doesn't matter, but if it exceeds 6 months, our client has to sign off on it. So we can sign a year. So for instance, if you don't usually need that long to sign a property, but if you have a product that is going to take a long time, like a $7 million commercial property or something agricultural that needs a specific type of person, like a farmer who knows how to farm, eggplants, right? Then you might sign a longer contract because you don't want to lose the listing just because it expires and have other people, running after them. You want to take a longer contract, but
less problem in 2 months, then other agents don't want to go.
Exactly. I generally, as a rule, do 3 or 4. It depends what kind of market I'm in. Like right now, I'm comfortable doing 2 months. I know things are still kind of pushing.
Market, so we can set it to 1
Exactly.
but it's still we saved like 3-4 months.
Exactly. Slower periods, I might sign for 3 or 4 months with my clients.
Double work also,
But-
2 months like this, and then again contract and this. You know,
Exactly.
and then they don't want it, you know, that's why.
Exactly. But you
That's
know,
what-
you have to know your product. Are you okay? You have to know your product. You have to go into the system and see how many days on market the last few sales have been. Were they within the last couple months? Great.
Yeah,
It was between 2, 4, and 10 days on the market.
yeah,
Great. Okay. So hopefully the max I'll be 10 days on the market, right? If I do the same things that these 3 agents did in these kind of price ranges and my client's not asking something outrageous, I should sell in the same days on market, right? In theory.
Yeah.
So you want to be doing your research and checking that days on market and seeing.
Also, I think like every time you get like renew the contract with the client, they kind of lose confidence.
Yeah,
in
because you have to go
so-
back to them and sign,
Yeah, like
back to
even
them
if
and
it's
sign.
not your fault, like even if it's COVID and you market, like whatever, but it's
yeah.
like it just doesn't look good when you have to keep re-signing and stuff because you were unable to get them. Like, what they
Exactly.
want, so.
Mm.
Exactly. So I just want to take a quick second here and go over to our system.
Yeah.
I'm going to log in because I just want to make sure you guys know how to search for expireds real quick. Okay. So you guys, like I said, should all be picking a farm area, and that's one of the topics I'm going to talk about shortly. It's one of the pillars. Let me just log in here. Okay. So I know there's some new people on here too who haven't had a chance to go in the system. Don't worry about it. I can show you this again. I know it's going to be completely new for you looking at this screen, but we're going to go here first to search properties. Okay. And you're just going to pick whatever area you're farming, right? And you want to look and see, because you don't want to pick the whole of MLS and look at the expires because you'd be running around the city all day long. Okay. So I want to do what's unavailable. Right.
Sorry, Christine, you're
We
not
don't,
sharing.
we don't see your.
Oh, there we go.
screen.
See, sometimes that happens with the share. Of course, it's ironic when I don't ask. There we go. Stop share. Okay. We're going to go share screen again. Thank you guys. Let me know anytime that happens because sometimes when I switch, Zoom doesn't follow over. You guys good now? You can see Stratus?
Yes, now we can see, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, I'll go back to the search here. So search, I'm going to pick residential and residential condo, for instance. And I want the unavailables. Okay. I'm going to continue. And now if you know your farm area really well, you can take the time and go through. This is the good thing about having that farm area because it's less for you to go and do more work in, right? It's not like a needle in a haystack. You can go and find out what's about to expire because remember I was telling you it's good to go a day or two before it actually expires. But if you're just starting off and you're not sure how to go about it, you just want to see what's expired in your farm area that you've picked, right? You can go to, say, Toronto, for instance. And let's just go to, I don't know, EO4, and we'll go Dorset Park. We'll go around where the office is right now, okay? Actually, you know what? Let me back up one because this is going to get confusing for you guys if I do it this way. I'm just going to choose residential freehold for now because if I do it both, I have to add the fields, which is going to be doubly confusing if you guys aren't used to the system, right? For those who are used to the system, I'll show you how to do 2 at the same time. So I'm going to go Toronto again, and I'm going to go around the office, right?
Which one of the following companies have you most recently received credit?
I think someone's getting homework help there. That's awesome. Double duty dad, training and getting homework help. Okay, so I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna see just what's around the office for terminated and expireds, right? So you're gonna go down here and you're gonna say, I want expireds, okay? And I want terminated, okay? And I'm gonna look up here and see the number is 62, okay? You guys see that? Let me just highlight my mouse here again. Okay, so the number is 62, which is what you want. You always want to go under 200 because anything over 200, you're not going to see. So you're going to be missing some data. So try to refine your data a little bit more. Then I'm going to go submit. Okay, and now I can see a list of what's terminated and expired, right? So when I want to go here, right? And I want to look at the contract dates, right? What was listed the latest? So this was, it goes 2 years back. So I could have even searched a little bit more, but the contract date, some of these are in 2021. So why did these not list? Why did these not go? Now you have to be careful because you have to take this list one step further. You can't just look and see, okay, this is terminated Forbes. Okay. This is why I wanted to show you guys this quickly, not because I don't think you know how to search, because I want you to caution when you're going for the expireds. You're going in and you see 45 Forbes terminated. Great, I'm gonna go knock on their door. You knock on the door and they go, hey, wait a minute, I already sold. What do you mean you already sold? Very often it's terminated because agents use that as a trick. Then they'll list it again. They'll make the listing look fresher and it's sold like that. So you just need to take it one step further. This is why I say work a small list. It's only 62. It should only take you about a half hour to go through this list, right? You can go further and you can sort it by street name if you want, but I'm just going to take that 45 Forbes and I just want to do a quick search on that property to see if it's sold, right? So I'm going to do available, unavailable, right? And I'm just picking Toronto.
Would it show up on the history?
It'll show up on the history of that listing, only what happened in that listing, right? But if you search this way, it'll show up every listing that's come up in the last 2 years for this property, right? And as you can see there, I have 2. Okay, why are there 2? Let's go see. Okay, so this is a really good example. I'm glad I picked this one out of the air. So if it was just terminated and there was no other listings, I'd be like, oh, great. This is a great one to door knock on. If you don't take this one extra step and look to see if there's a current listing or a sold listing, you're going to waste your time knocking on this door. So now I see that the agent went up for $9.98. It didn't get sold. He terminated it. And he's decided to use a different strategy and put it up for more for true price. So I know this is not a door knock. So I take that list of 62 properties I had, crossed off my list, okay? This is how I'm searching for my terminated listings, right? Okay, I'm gonna stop the share. Anybody have a question about that? Because I'm gonna go on to the other pillars. I just wanna make sure I finish them off. I always run out of time, right? So we'll go back and share the screen here. And we'll go back to our pillars. Okay, the next one I want to talk about real quick is similar to chasing your expireds or terminateds, but you want to do just listed or just sold, okay? These are a lot of my secret to success, and I'm not even lying. And I'm sharing that with all of you because there's a ton of properties out there to go get sales on. Like, I don't care if you know. I am a big fan of this. This is one of my pillars that I use all the time. If I have a just listed in the building, that whole building's getting called. The just listeds, the coming soons I'm putting up, I'm preparing to make phone calls on them over the next couple of weeks. I believe in 6 degrees of separation, first of all, that somebody knows somebody that wants to move into the neighborhood. So I got a good chance of trying to double end it. But I also get to talk to the neighbors, all the neighbors around, and they know me. So if there are other agents who have properties up, they're going to see that those aren't active agents. I'm an active agent. I've just called this whole neighborhood and talked to them. Neighbors will talk to each other and say things, right? I had a listing up in Grangeway and I called the whole building. And I swear my client was so happy because she goes, every time I go down to the hallway, they tell me your agent called me because I literally took a few days and called the whole building of Grangeway. And I still have notes from that listing of people that I could probably call back and try and get sales. I make notes like, spoke with an old guy. He was thinking of maybe selling in a couple of years, These are my center of influence lists I keep on going back to. Because if you're taking the time to make these calls, you need to take the time to take good notes because it's going to be your success for you going forward whenever you have a lull in business, right? We're talking about how to grow our business, how to boost our business, how to get through lull periods, right? So make a commitment to call a certain number of contacts per day, okay? Oh, I just wanted to take a brief aside too. If you don't have a just listed or just sold recently or in the farm area that you want, I keep on reminding you guys, we're all the same brokerage. We're allowed to advertise each other's listings. Just go do a quick search in the brokerage history. And I can show you guys how to do that after we just look over this script here real quick. So make a commitment to contact a certain number of contacts per day. For instance, like 10, I have to make 10 phone calls today. Even if I get distracted, interrupted, I'm going to go back. And if I did 5 this morning, I'm going to do 5 more after I got distracted or after I had to get an appointment, right? Have an exact time each day. So 9 to 11, I find it's the best thing. When I was first starting reading these scripts years and years ago, I remember thinking, who's going to be home at 9 to 11? You're surprised how many people you get in contact. And especially now that everybody's working from home, right? And people are like with it in the morning. In the afternoon, they get busy. In the evening, they're having dinner. It's a good time to call people. Prospect in high traffic neighborhoods with at least 10% turnover. So you don't want to farm in a neighborhood where nobody's leaving, nobody's putting their house up for sale, nobody's turning over in this neighborhood. You want to work in a neighborhood where you see sales are happening, right? So be careful when you're picking your farm areas, okay? So There have been a few listings or sales in your neighborhood recently, and you can continue with the script. This is what you want to say to people, right? Send leads and links and thank you notes to the appropriate people and follow up on your lead schedule. Hot leads. List or start the process of looking for a home within 10 days. So hot leads, someone that you get on the phone and they say, oh yeah, I saw you just sold that property. I'm really thinking of selling. That's a really good price. I'm at their door right then and there. That's a hot lead. Warm leads, they say, oh, you know, they just sold over $1 million, but I'm not ready. I still need to finish fixing my kitchen and paint. Warm lead, they have stuff they want to do. They might be selling in the next month or two, right? And the cold leads are the ones that are just saying, well, I wonder if I put it up, if I'll get that price. I mean, still go for the listing, but they're not motivated, right? They don't have a strong motivation to move. They just want to see if they can get the price. If you think the price is there, for sure, list it, right? If they're up for it. But again, I'd file them under not as motivated as the people who need to move, have a job switch, have definitely have a priority to move for some reason, right? I'm going to stop the share and go back to our system real quick, just so I can show you guys how to look up just sold or just listed in the system. So you're going to go here to search, right? But instead of doing your regular search here, you're going to go to predefined searches. Actually, let me highlight my mouse. I don't think you can see my mouse there. Okay. Predefined searches. Okay. And you're going to go scroll down a little bit. My brokerage history. Okay. So right now I'm going to go to my brokerage history and I just want to know every freehold and condo that we have up right now, right? Now I want to look and I'll just select them all and we'll see. Okay. So, oh, look, there's a listing here on Simcoe. That's totally my farm area in Oshawa, right? I'm going to use this listing to say, hey, we've just listed a property in the area. Even though I don't have a listing up right now, you can use each other's listings because we're all from the same brokerage. You're allowed to advertise. Just like you can't say specifically it's my listing, but you can advertise and use good verbiage like, we just listed a property in your area. Our office has a property. There's this, you know, and you can advertise the details about it, right? Try and push this property and try to get another listing in the area, right? This is just as equally good for just sold. So you just do the opposite thing that I did. You go to predefined searches, right? You go to my brokerage history. You're going to go to unavailable, right? And there's of course going to be a lot more. So I'm just going to do freeholds for now. I might break this down a little bit more because obviously the office has been open many years now, lots and lots of sales. So I only want to look in Durham, for instance, right? And I only want to look in Oshawa. What have we sold recently, right? And then I'm going to take it one step further, unless there's a recent sale here. We just go over here. Sold date. Okay, let's find a 2021 real quick. If you sort this list twice, okay, so the reason I say twice because we sort it once, it's the oldest. If you sort it again, the newest go to the top. So you see 424, 2021, this one sold. And I go, wow, this one sold for 910. I'd like to sell detached houses in Samac in Oshawa. That's really my farm area. I live close by there, right? So you're going to take whatever sale this is from our brokerage, and only from our brokerage. If you do it outside the brokerage, you have to get written permission from that agent. Okay, so keep that in mind, which is totally possible. It just takes extra time. It's easy to look to see if we have something in the farm area. Yep.
Written meaning like an email.
Send them an
with it,
email.
or-
Yeah, email is totally fine for sure. And you can say, okay, look, you know, hey, I'm calling everybody on Birchview. We just sold a property on your street. It's sold over asking. It was listed at $848 and we sold it for $910. Isn't that great news? Are you thinking of buying and selling soon? Right? So that's how you go about and do your just sold, just listed calls. Okay. Let me go back to the pillars here just so I can get to all of them before we finish up here and you guys can at least get an idea. Okay. Geographical farming. So this is what I keep on talking about when I'm talking about doing all these just listed and just sold. You can absolutely call around everywhere, but I guarantee you the secret to success is you're going to take a listing from anywhere. Obviously, if someone calls you from Brampton or Pickering, we're going to take the listings everywhere. But right now we're talking about where we're trying to find our business. That when you're actively trying to find business, where do you focus your marketing? You're going to focus it on a geographical farm area. Okay. So they say pick an area of about 500 homes in a neighborhood. Okay. You need to be the only person on those people's minds in that neighborhood of those 500 people. So you need to be sending them off a flyer every 2 weeks for 6 months if it's your new geographical area. Just flyer them, flyer them, flyer them, so they see it over and over again. They say you have to see the flyer 10 times before they recognize your face or your name. Okay, so just think about it, and not 10 times like once every year. We're talking like I would even do it more than once a month. I would do it once every 2 weeks if you're just picking a new farm area to try and work, right? All right, I would call or knock on the door 3 times per year. Okay, so I tend to do this a little bit more, especially if I've gotten a listing from all my flyering that I've been doing. Now it's not a cold call anymore. They've seen your face a bunch of times. They're going to be like, oh yeah, I got your flyer. I get this a lot when I go in my bursts and my campaigns when I'm trying to find some business. If I get a little slow, I say, oh, it's time to send out some new flyers in my little farm area, right? I send them out over and over again, and then I start calling people. And because I've been farming certain areas for a while now, I hit the neighbors that I know and they go, oh, I've been getting your flyer for weeks now. It looks good. How are you doing? And we strike up a conversation. Again, keep those notes, add them to your center of influence, because that is going to be your lifeline when it comes to this, right? Get entire farm area in your database. So you want to know, like I said, who's old, who's moving, who's doing renovations. Drive around your farm area. Are there bins sitting in the driveway? Does it look like they put a bunch of furniture to the curb? Does it look like, you know, they're packing up, or they're different like telltale things, dilapidated homes, you know, different things that you're going to go knock in your farm area. You need to know all of that. You should know at least, you know, every second neighbor, because they should be opening their door, talking to you on the phone, or, you know, getting your flyer. You need to know what's going on with all of them. So keep a really good database and keep really good notes. Okay. Leave messages if they're not home, for example, you know, but I just try to keep on getting a hold of everybody. All right. The last one I want to talk about, and we're not allowed to do them right now, but it's still worthy talking about, is open house. So it's not a pillar I rely on. I find open house popularity is kind of dwindling in our business, even before COVID. And we'd be selling a lot, right? But we wouldn't even make it to the open house. The house would sell before the week or two that we had slated the open house. But there are some tricks that can help you with your open house to help you if it's a good pillar for you. We all know open houses are a good opportunity to pick up buyers because, you know, they're walking through the house. They're obviously interested in buying something. So for every listing you have, I want to say, even though we're not allowed to have open houses, we can open this up to any inquiries we're getting online. So again, you're going to keep a really good note on your phone. So I just keep notes on my phone religiously for whoever calls, because I'm going to call them back. I want to know. So I just had a listing on Binswood, for instance, right? And I store people, everybody who calls me, oh, hi, what's your name? Okay, great. Kathleen, Marianne, Mary Jane. And I just save it in my phone with the address that I was trying to sell. Because I know that I'm going to go back to them now and say, hey, you know, you didn't get a chance to buy this property. It got sold in the bidding war. It was sold, you know, so much over asking. Oh, wow, that's great. Yeah. Can I help you find something else in the neighborhood? Every listing you're getting, you should be trying to collect those buyers. You should get at least a couple of, you know, people to work with, because they're actively looking for a house. So every single phone call you get for that listing that you have to capture the names. Your note taking is going to be your lifeline at the end of the day, right? So aside from this being an open house one, I guess it's the same sentiment for the people who are calling you right now. And like I say, I find open houses, unless clients really, really insist on them, I haven't been doing a lot of them because everything is so easy with technology nowadays. Whenever I get a call, I can start sending them emails right away. It's a really good touch point to pick up those buyers, right? Choose properties in high traffic neighborhoods. So this is always fun when you have the chance not only to do an open house, but right now, say you just have a listing. I encourage you guys to look around any of my listings that you see go up posted. I'm especially if it's a main road, great. If I'm not on the main road though, I'm gonna make sure the main road knows that my listing's in that pocket somewhere. So I got all my little throwaway signs, I call them, and I lose them all the time. But you wanna make sure that that main road sees your face. Who knows that you're in that pocket? They don't know you're a listing agent. They don't know your face unless they're seeing you on that main road, right? So stick those little $10 lawn signs in. Sometimes the city takes them. Sometimes a kid kicks them over. Sometimes you put out 10 and I might collect back 7. Great. I consider that a good day if I collect back 7. But you want to make sure that it's high, you put yourself in high traffic areas. So, you know, I know you guys can probably spit off a couple of popular agents in your neighborhood because you see their signs all the time. Well, it should be you, you know, it should be you out there. So if you get this chance to have a listing, put yourself in those high traffic areas with signage for sure. Okay. All right, so I guess I can come back and see. I got through all the pillars. At the end of the day, I guess the basic thing is that I wanted to get across today is that even though we have all these pillars to work, you're not going to try and work them all. You'll exhaust yourself. Get really, really good at a few of them. Okay. Like I said, your center of influence of the day is a no-brainer. You should always have that center of influence because you're going to take everything else you're doing. You're just listed, just sold, you're expired, you're terminated, you're whatever else you're doing as your pillars and plug them in on that list and keep good notes. Does anybody have any questions about anything I've gone over today? How's everybody doing there online? Do you guys work any of these pillars to try and get business and listings? What are you guys doing now?
I'm thinking of doing something, as you said today.
Okay, very good. I hopefully that's why I'm trying to spit out the ideas, and I really like sharing what works. You know what I mean? I find that, you know, a lot of agents don't like sharing what works with them, which I think is silly. There's so much business out there. If something's working for you, I would sing it to all you other guys because I want to see you guys go and get listings, right? There's tons of business out there. And if you're doing some of the things that I think are working, great. If it helps you, even better. You know what I mean? So for sure, if you pick something up, that's great. What piqued your interest? What part did you think was good that you want to try and use?
I think, as you mentioned, expired one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Expired, terminated, stuff like that, for sure. Like I say, just make sure you do your research and be careful. Like you saw how that one I looked up, it just happened. It was relisted, right? The last thing you want to do is, God forbid, there's no sign on the lawn. You go knock that door without doing your research ahead of time. She's going to, you know, might say something to her agent, right? And we're not allowed to take it if they're already under contract. You can get yourself into trouble, but just do your, take that list of 62 or even whittle it down further. If 62 is too much, you don't feel like looking up 62 today, 62 properties, right? Whittle it down somehow. I only want detached in this area, right? And get 40, look at the 40, see available, unavailable, see why, try to find out, take a minute or two, why it was terminated, why it was expired. If you can't figure it out, you can even call the agent. But then, you know, you're normally left with, I'm not gonna lie, like of a list of 62, you might be left with 4 or 5 properties that are appropriate to go door knock on today. But that's a win. 4 or 5, you're going to go door knock and it's a real point of contact you're making with those people, right? It's like, you know, they want to sell, you know, they were unsuccessful, and you might have an in to try and list now because you know they haven't relisted or sold with that agent, right? Yeah, what's up?
Can your farming area be like not new? Because okay, basically I'm debating on whether to make my farming area Branson or here because it's just I'm trying. I don't really plan on staying in Brampton permanently, and
For sure.
I feel like I'm more familiar with the area here. And
Yeah,
like
your farm area can be wherever. It doesn't have to be near your homes, guys. It's wherever you're comfortable working. If you want to work only luxury homes in Bridle Path, well then farm Bridle Path. You know what I mean? If you want to, if you want to just farm condos downtown because that's your jam, do that. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be around your home and it doesn't have to be around the office. It has to be where you like working, what you choose to work with, what kind of clientele. You really like Liberty Village because you find it's like a really young vibe and you're a young agent and you want to work with like, you know, young professionals or first-time home buyers. By all means, go work Liberty Village. You know what I mean? Wherever you're comfortable, wherever you think you want to get business, right? That, like I say, you're going to take business from everywhere and all your phone calls. But when you're actively looking for it, you want to have that farm area you keep on going back to over and over again, sending your flyers, focusing on that. And you should know everything about that neighborhood or that building, whatever you've chosen, right? Have you guys ever wondered when you see other agents out there, popular agents, that they're always listing in the same building? Are they always listing in the same pocket? It's because they're using their farming technique, right? I'm sure you guys know in your neighborhood, who's the guy who gets all of the listings, right? I know the guy in my neighborhood, as soon as he puts a just listed on a lawn, I laugh because as I'm driving home, I see he's door knocking all the neighbors, right? As soon as he puts the sold sign on the lawn, he's out there again in his suit, door knocking all the neighbors, right? He's doing his job. He's farming in his area, his just listed and his just sold. And that is why his sign keeps on going up in that neighborhood. I just choose not to farm my own neighborhood because I've lived there my whole life and I know all the neighbors and I'm like, you know what I mean? But I just laugh because I go, look at him. He's doing a darn good job. He's farming very well. It's a secret to success, I'm telling you. So pick which pillars you're comfortable working with. Focus on a few. Your center of influence is 100% the one you need because you have to keep on referring back to it to keep your notes, to keep everything good. I would further it if you have a CRM that you're using. go log into ReMax and check out the CRM in the back office. I will be doing training on it soon to show you guys some of the tools and tricks in the back office there. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, just reach out to me. Let me know how good your week is going. Hopefully you have some good news for me next week with some new listings. And I want to hear some epic fails. I need to hear those fails because I want to see how we can combat not failing again, or how we can move on from our fails, right? So like I say, that listing that I lost last week, I think I'm hoping my client will want to buy it once it's listed, right? So we're gonna make it a win. All right. Nobody else got any questions? You guys are good? Everybody's shy tonight. I think it's a quiet crowd tonight because everybody's celebrating there. They're all having parties and eating tonight.
Yeah.
Eid, that's it, right? You know, so quiet crowd tonight, but it's good. I like a quiet crowd.
It was quite informative, and it is. Thank you very much, Christine. Actually, I would say that it is really informative and really useful for a new agent like me.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And if you need any help, or if you don't remember how to do something, like check those just listed, just sold, or if you want a little assistance doing your first few calls, no problem. Just reach out to me and I'll help you guys out.
You are really good. Now I compare my first month and my current month.
Yeah.
There's so many trainings. Yeah, I can't imagine even in a week, 2 week trainings. Oh, it's so much for me. Thank you very
Good.
much, Christine, to get you in right time. For me,
I'm so happy, Paul. I'm so happy. That's very nice. That means a lot to me. So I hope you guys find the content good and it keeps on coming out good. And I try to cater it to what I feel like is going on in our industry right now. So, listing season, finding business, right? It's spring. Go get lots of listings now. It's feast or famine in the business, right? Although with COVID, I find that even the winter time was busy in the last couple of years, but usually it's feast or famine in real estate, right? So feast now while we can. Listing season.
Sure.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys Tuesday morning.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Okay,
All right.
thanks,
Nope.
Thank you,
Christine.
Christine. Thank you very
No
much.
problem. Nice seeing you guys.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.